Hi, everyone. Steve Adubato. This is Lessons in Leadership with my colleague, Mary. Again, but Mary, listen, we're about to see an interview with Linda Czipo, the president and CEO of this New Jersey Center for Nonprofits. It's part of an ongoing series we're doing called, it's really about not-for-profit leadership. Our friends at Horizon have helped make that possible along with others. I did that interview, which is also airing on our one-on-one series as well. You saw it after the fact. What was your biggest takeaway and what should people be looking for here?
Absolutely. I'm really excited that our audience is about to see this. So Linda really talks about what not only nonprofits are faced with in terms of challenges with hiring, retaining, but also every organization, every employee. What it really is our workforce looking for today. There's a little bit of a disconnect between what we think they're looking for. Are they looking for a hybrid work environment? Are they looking for more money? So she really just talks about those types of things in terms of just making sure that the nonprofit organization is really communicating to their prospective employees and their current employees what their culture is and really what value there is for working together as a team.
But again, the other thing is, while salaries need to be competitive, it's not enough. Mary and I have talked about this so many times. There are people that we gave bonuses to, raises to, and then 2 weeks later said, yeah, we're out. Meaning, and we don't know all the reasons for that. And some of them are personal and have to do with people's families and whatever. But the bottom line
doesn't make it any easier, Steve.
No, it doesn't. But I've learned this. If we do not offer competitive salaries, if we are not flexible with people's work hours, if we're not focused on family first, even though we have very high standards for what we do, if we're not sensitive to and caring about people's families, their personal lives, their well-being, you put it all together. No, it's no guarantee. People say, well, how are you going to guarantee that they're going to stay? I can't, but I'm trying to increase the odds of that. That being said, Linda Czipo talks about that. She talks about mission of a not-for-profit organization, hybrid work situations, in-person, remote, all those things. It's an interview with Linda Czipo, president and CEO of the New Jersey Center for Nonprofits. And it's really important stuff because not-for-profits make a difference. Check it out. We're now joined by Linda Czipo, who is the president and CEO, New Jersey Center for Nonprofits. We'll put their website up. Linda, great to have you with us again.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Linda, what would you say the top 2, 3 challenges are for not-for-profits in 2024?
One is not new, and that is that there is a big disconnect between the rising demand for the services that nonprofits are providing in our communities and the funding and the resources needed that are not keeping pace. That has been the case for quite some time. It was exacerbated by the pandemic and other factors. So that's certainly challenge number one. Another one is the workforce shortage. Nonprofits are experiencing, this is nationwide, but certainly very acute in New Jersey, a severe shortage of high vacancy rates and trouble filling those vacancies. And that's also due to a number of different factors.
You know, it's so interesting. We're a not-for-profit, our Caucus Educational Corporation, not-for-profit, attracting talented people, retaining, training them, all challenges. And I want to make it clear, this is part of our series on nonprofit leadership. The graphic will come up. So I'm curious about this. To what degree do you find that not-for-profits, and I think about this a lot because as a not-for-profit, we partner with a lot of other not-for-profits. You know, we're partners with public broadcasting, we partner, and together we can do more than we can do alone. Question here. As all of us as nonprofit leaders work, no money, no mission, you know what I'm talking about, to raise money, half of my time, 60% is involved in raising money. Here's the question. How the heck are we supposed to collaborate and partner with other nonprofits who we often compete with for grants from corporations and foundations, but we know we can't do it alone? Help us understand that difficult balancing act.
I guess the first thing I would say is that there is, I think, a little bit of a misperception that nonprofits don't collaborate or don't collaborate as much as they do, because certainly from where I sit, I see a lot of really good and impactful partnerships that go on all the time. I think one of the challenges and the opportunities is we have to kind of get past this scarcity mindset, the always idea that we have to do more with less, that has to be the MO for every single nonprofit, and it's not sustainable. And that's part of the reason why we're kind of in this situation where it looks, it's pretty stark right now for the nonprofit community. And we have stark. Yeah.
Go ahead, describe that.
Well, again, get back to the idea of demand for nonprofit services keeps going up.
Yeah.
The resources needed aren't keeping pace, and we have we've nurtured for too long this misperception that if a nonprofit invests in itself, if it pays its people adequately so that you're not constantly having to recruit for people who then have to leave, if you're investing in technology, in research and development, all the kinds of things that nobody blinks when the for-profit community does these things, it's good practice. We somehow have gotten into this mindset where we question it when it comes to the nonprofit community. And it's taken quite a bit of time to get into those assumptions, but it's also going to take a lot of time to get out of them. But we have to do it.
We do have to do it. And actually, we're constantly at the Caucus Educational Corporation asking ourselves, not just what should we pay our people, what's competitive. And listen, I want to be clear on this. And Mary Gamba, my colleague, and I, who is the executive director of the Caucus Educational Corporation, and we work on our leadership development work. We coach together with in another company. But I want to say this: when we think by paying more, just paying more, which is hard enough, Linda, that you guarantee someone stays. Mary and I have learned that that's not true. There are other things that people want and need in a not-for-profit organization and in the corporate world as well. But what are, beyond competitive salaries, what else do you think most professionals in the not-for-profit community are looking for?
I think one thing that nonprofit community has going for it, of course, is the values and the mission-based nature of what we do. And that's something that is very attractive to emerging professionals. We have to live those values every day, and that means investing in our people and making sure that we are practicing, emulating good practice in terms of work-life balance, making sure that we are not burning our people out, that when it comes time to, the sad truth is for too many organizations, when the budget isn't there, you've got wonderful, talented, enthusiastic people who come into the field, but they can't afford to stay if you can't afford to pay them fairly. So it's compensation, it's benefits, it's living your values, it's making sure that you have infused in top to bottom, and left and right throughout the organization a culture of belonging, and making sure that you are not only recruiting great people, but you're also training them well and onboarding them well and respecting their wisdom and making sure that there are opportunities for growth. And that's certainly not unique to nonprofits, but we need to live those values every day.
How about this one? We're doing this remotely. Not all of our productions are remote, but the vast majority of them are. And you and I were having this conversation right before you got on the air. When we were in studio and you are based where you are, it was about a 3-hour back and forth, plus in the studio waiting and all that. And we're doing this remotely. It is better to do interviews in person. Let's not kid ourselves. But it's more efficient to do it this way. Question as it relates to nonprofits. What have you seen in the not-for-profit community in terms of in-person, remote, hybrid, and people adapting to that?
It is a mix for sure. One of the things that happened, of course, during the pandemic is this technology was available. I mean, prior crises, 10, 20 years ago, that certainly wasn't even an option. Right. So the fact that you could pivot, to use that word, to Zoom or other kinds of things was really, really helpful, because in a number of industries, that would allow the work to continue. Board attendance, if you've got a board that's situated throughout the state,
all over the place.
Participation, it's going to be a lot higher. Absolutely. Absolutely. So those things were really, really helpful. Now, there is, the downside, of course, is for a lot of nonprofits, of course, they had to cancel their events or change things from in-person to Zoom. That's not always the same as being in person. And then back to the employment situation, first of all, we all know that not every nonprofit can do their work remotely. There are plenty of
services. Some of their we work with a whole range of organizations, particularly food pantries, and if you will. There's no remote.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a service where you have to be there. Grant, I'm sorry.
No, and that's absolutely right. So you've got that challenge. Even if some employees can be remote in a lot of different nonprofit fields, they can't all be remote. So that's
No.
one thing. I mean, it does provide opportunities in terms of recruiting and some employees who or some would-be employees who don't want to come into the office all the time. Again, we've got a labor shortage, so we have
Right.
to adapt. But it does create challenges in terms of making sure that people stay connected and making sure that everybody is kind of rowing in the same direction.
And again, we're talking about folks who do it in person. The Community Food Bank of New Jersey are longtime partners. There's no remote there. You've got to be there. You've got to do it, and that matters. Linda, this is, again, part of our series and will be one of many, many interviews with not-for-profit leaders, not-for-profit leadership. I can't thank you enough for joining us, Linda. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, the Helix, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Fedway Associates Inc., Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Veolia, Resourcing the World, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague Mary Gamba has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ and Commerce Magazine, and the Meadowlands Chamber and Meadowlands Media.
Life is unpredictable. Health insurance shouldn't be. For over 90 years, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey has provided quality, affordable health plans to New Jersey residents. We have served generations of New Jersey families and businesses and are committed to driving innovations that put you at the heart of everything we do. Our members are our neighbors, our friends, and our families. We're here when you need us most. Horizon, proud to be New Jersey.
Most people don't think about where their water comes from, but we do. Veolia, more than water, resourcing the world.
Lessons in Leadership would like to thank our newest sponsors who make our programming possible, including the Helix, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. This is Lessons in Leadership with my colleague Mary Gamba. Mary, you're about to see an interview that I did with Mike Maron. Mike is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Holy Name. We sat down and talked with Mike about graduate medical education, collaboration, partnerships, and its connection to leadership. Rowan University, one of our higher ed partners in Holy Name, have entered into a partnership that Mike will talk about as it relates to graduate medical education. Tee this up. Partnerships, collaboration, critical.
Yeah, absolutely critical. And you'll hear Mike in a few minutes talk about just that importance of the return on investment, working together toward a common goal. In this case, in particular, it's really to address a problem. That's how most partnerships start. It's to address a problem. And in this situation, there is a shortage of medical professionals, in particular, physicians, nurses, staff. So Rowan and Holy Name are working together to find ways to address that problem and just help the public by doing so.
Along those lines, Mary, one of the leadership themes, and you and I will talk about this on the back end, is that every challenge, hey, there's a shortage of primary care physicians, challenge, problem, yep, opportunity. Meaning, is it a problem, a challenge, or an opportunity? All three. Mike Maron talks about it right here. Mike, let's talk medical education. We recently had a conversation with the president of Rowan University, Dr. Ali Hushma, talked about this, a collaboration between Holy Name and Rowan University as it relates to graduate medical education?
Correct.
Because
New Jersey is on the cusp of a real crisis, and there's going to be a big shortage of physicians in this state. So educating, and nationally there is, but New Jersey is particularly hard hit because most physicians, once they graduate, don't want to stay here.
That's right.
So we want to try to create an educational experience that will, one, produce outstanding, compassionate, caring, humanistic physicians, but ones who will also choose to stay in the community where they were born and raised and hopefully provide services back.
Mike, we've known this for a long time, a shortage of physicians, shortage in primary care. Physicians, as we're coming up here, literally coming up here, my wife was scrambling to go to a Medi center, and her primary care physician, long story short, couldn't see her for a few days. And I thought, that's emblematic of a situation millions of people have every day. We've known this for a long time. Are we playing catch up when it comes to medical education?
We are, absolutely. We should have done this decades ago.
The pipeline's been getting dry for a while.
Getting dry for a while. It's accelerated now. So post-COVID, burnout and PTSD from that, rethinking, one's profession and retiring early is a real phenomenon that's affecting the entire workforce, but physicians in particular, absolutely. And then the economics of medicine have changed. And so fewer people are going into it. Fewer people are staying in it for the long term. And it makes it much, much harder. And so creating a wide supply of well-trained doctors is absolutely essential, because as you and I start to enter those years where we're going to need them more,
That's right.
We're going to want them there. And I fear that we're going to feel it in the next 5 to 10 years, where there's going to be a real shortage. And you don't want socialized medicine where you're waiting months, year to get in to see a doctor because you have some condition that's going untreated.
So, but the geography is Rowan's down south, you're way up here up north. How does that work?
Well, actually, it makes it a perfect partnership, because New Jersey only has 5 medical schools right now, consolidating down between Rutgers and University and Rowan. So Rowan draws students from the north. There's a lot of people, a lot of young men and women who get their education in northern New Jersey, go to Rowan for medical school, and want to stay in New Jersey. The same with other medical schools like St. George's. People go to St. George's from New Jersey in large quantities. They want to return and hopefully stay in New Jersey. And we want to provide them that opportunity to be able to do that.
Mike, do me a favor. You and I have been talking leadership for 20 years now.
Yeah.
Connect graduate medical education, not to mention the innovative collaboration with Rowan University, and leadership, meaning the role of leaders to be innovative, creative, strategic. I'm connecting a lot of dots.
Yeah.
Saying, wait a minute, there's a problem. Where's the opportunity? Am I making too much of that?
No. I think it'd be very easy to turn around and look at something and say, you know what? The challenges are too great. The reward too small. Why are we doing this? We should just focus on providing care as long as we can.
It's hard enough doing that.
Yeah.
And making either a profit or staying in the black.
Right.
Why are we getting into this other thing?
Exactly, right? Why add more to the plate? Why are you doing it? And the answer is, true leaders look at the needs of those around them, not themselves, and say, if the community, or who am I defining as the group that I'm here to serve? So Holy Name's here to serve Northern New Jersey and the community. And when we look at the community and we look and we can forecast the deficit in clinical talent that is desperately going to be needed, we say, look, we could say it's somebody else's problem, or we could say we can be part of the solution. We think we can offer an alternative and an option for young men and women to become the best physicians they possibly could be and return that service to the community that they were raised in.
Even though it's challenging, difficult,
But
with
that's
lots
what
of problems.
leaders do. That's true leadership. You step up and you say, I am not going to be deterred by the obstacles and the challenges that are in the way when I see the greater good for others, not myself.
So hold on, Mike. So the cost-benefit analysis, the ROI, return on investment paradigm doesn't necessarily always work for leadership.
No, in fact, rarely does. ROI is a byproduct of good leadership. If you make the right decisions in leadership for the right reasons, ROI and profit will follow. always does.
ROI can't be the primary
Should
rational.
never be. It's because that's shallow. And I would suspect that 90% of failure is because ROI was the primary driving source for an initiative, as opposed to the general benefit and good that that service is going to provide.
Wow, that was interesting. There was a very compelling conversation with Mike Maron, partnerships, collaboration, graduate medical education, physician shortage. Mary, do you believe, got about a few minutes left. Mary, do you believe that every challenge, problem, situation that's challenging presents an opportunity, or sometimes does it just suck?
Well, no matter what, it definitely sucks, no matter what that challenge is. But one of the things that I have always believed in, even before you and I have met, I've given you so much credit over the years of teaching me so many life lessons. And the thing that I have always truly believed in, if life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And it's so true. Exactly. That attitude is everything. And it's all about perspective. And sometimes you get down in the dumps. And especially, I feel like we're on the other side of it. I mean, you still have Olivia that's still in her teens. But now that both of my.
Olivia is our daughter. I have 3 sons, and I have our daughter is 13, Olivia. Actually, we were joking about math before, because Elvin is a whiz at math. Our daughter has her math exam today and was studying for it, preparing for it, and she was freaking out over it. And saying she's never going to pass it. And then she went for some extra help with the teacher and did some extra studying and blah, 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 blah. Translation, the challenge and and anxiety about potentially failing the math exam was an opportunity for her.
It's an opportunity. And you want to know what? Even if she does fail that exam, which let's pray to God she does not fail that exam, even that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to say, hey, how did I study? How did I prepare? What more should I have done? Do I need a tutor? So these are challenges. And what I was about to say before is, after almost 20 years, my oldest is going to be 22, my youngest is going to be 19. I feel like I'm on the other side of it. I feel like I'm on the other side of those challenges and the horse blinders, and just, you're in the grind of it. And taking a step back, one of my proudest leadership, parenting, just work-life balance was seeing every single challenge as an opportunity and lifting up those people around us to say, hey, how can we turn this around into an opportunity to do something better?
Let's stay on that. So, Mary, on our website, and Sylvester, who always sees every challenge as an opportunity, that's why we keep getting better in the way we look. Sylvester will put up the website, stand-deliver.com. But one of the things I want to put on there, Mary, I write a monthly column in New Jersey Monthly Magazine. The column would not be possible without Mary Gamba editing and having a strong hand in it. But Mary, I wrote, I believe it's in the March 2024 edition of my New Jersey Monthly column, which I think is called Only in New Jersey, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Who did I write about who is the quintessential leader when it comes to taking a horrific situation, challenging situation, and saying the opposite of woe is me, but rather I'm going to turn this into something positive? Who was that?
Yeah, it was Eric LeGrand. It is Eric LeGrand. He's a man now, but a young man at the time that he had a horrific spinal column injury in a football game and was paralyzed.
2010, Rutgers, playing for Rutgers against Army.
Yeah, paralyzed. And instead of saying, woe is me, he immediately took the opportunity to say, what lessons can I offer others, and where can I take this journey? He has been a keynote speaker. He has been a commentator, right? On, I believe,
he's an entrepreneur with put up LeGrand Coffee. I mean,
LeGrand Coffee House, yes, in Woodbridge, and now even at the Devils games over at Prudential Center. And he's just everywhere and has a book. He's an author. So he is just the quintessential example of, listen, things are going to happen to you, that you can't control. He couldn't control that. But what you can control is how you deal with that situation. And he is just truly an inspiration. And if you don't know who Eric LeGrand is, Google it, look him up, read his book. He is just truly an inspiration.
What about our interviews?
Or yes, go to stand-deliver.com or steveadubato.org. He is a regular guest with us. We're going to have him on again in the future. He is just truly an inspirational human being. Speaking
about inspirational, you know how Eric, and again, having done, I don't know, so many interviews with Eric over the years and being in awe of who he is as a person, not just as a leader, as a human being. I didn't even tell you this, Mary, but this is, when I think about Eric, it really helps me be better than I would otherwise be. Mary knows that as we're doing this program, about 3 or 4 months ago, I had surgery on my elbow. And we were doing the Hall of Fame interviews, and I had half a cast on my arm and weird stuff. And I didn't tell you this, but in rehabbing, Mary, last week, I was able to start lifting weights again. Why is that important? Because I tweaked my shoulder in the process.
Oh, no.
And I'm serious. I'm getting an MRI. I'm falling apart, I know. So I'm getting an MRI in the next couple of days. And the orthopedic surgeon said, listen, you may have a tear in your labrum. I said, well, I'm sorry, I just had surgery on my elbow. He goes, I know, but it's all tied and it's weak. And I said, are you saying there's a potential I could have surgery again? He goes, don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
But it's a possibility. I'm freaking out. You're kidding me. That's not fair. I just recovered from elbow surgery. Now you're talking about my shoulder, and I'm going to play golf. It's the golf season. That's ridiculous. Why is it relevant? Eric LeGrand.
Eric LeGrand, exactly. No, and that's the thing. And, I'll often joke and bust your chops. I'm like, stop telling people about this stuff. No one cares, right?
It's not that, Mary. It's not about me. It's because everybody.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But
we're going to argue on the air?
No, we could always argue. It's not arguing. It's having a spirited conversation and a spirited dialogue.
Tell me. Put on your pants is what you tell me.
Eric LeGrand literally says all the time that no matter how bad you have it, someone always has it worse, right? He says that. And literally, I mean, he is just, like I said, and I'm beaming and I'm glowing and I'm just so proud of him, right? Like I just am so proud of the man he's become and the challenges he's overcome to be where he is today. So yeah, that's my point.
And the other thing about Eric, which is so fascinating, and again, please check out the interview. Sylvester will put up the website, steveadubato.org, and lessons and the Stand Deliver site. Eric said to me in an interview, and I'm pretty sure I've written about it before. I've written a chapter in one of my books about Eric in terms of his attitude and what it has to do with leadership. Eric said that he felt fortunate and lucky. Eric's in a wheelchair. For 14 years, he has not been able to walk. He's convinced he is going to be able to walk. He's an entrepreneur. He's a sports commentator. Mm-hmm. He's a leader. He's an advocate. He motivates others. He said he is fortunate.
Yeah.
He's fortunate.
Who else is there? They were the luckiest man alive. You know that.
The great Lou Gehrig. Check out our series that I do with Jackie.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, unfortunately, sometimes it takes extraordinary, awful situations to help us just appreciate life and being on this planet. So, and speaking, Elvin's saying we have to say goodbye.
I'm fortunate to have you take over. Go ahead.
Elvin said we need to say goodbye. So this has been Lessons in Leadership for Steve Adubato and Mary Gamba. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
There it is. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 825, the North Ward Center, the New Jersey Sharing Network, the Helix, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Fedway Associates Inc., Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Veolia, Resourcing the World, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague Mary Gamba has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ and Commerce Magazine, and the Meadowlands Chamber and Meadowlands Media.
Most people don't think about where their water comes from, but we do. Veolia. More than water. Resourcing the world.
Life is unpredictable. Health insurance shouldn't be. For over 90 years, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey has provided quality, affordable health plans to New Jersey residents. We have served generations of New Jersey families and businesses and are committed to driving innovations that put you at the heart of everything we do. Our members are our neighbors, our friends, and our families. We're here when you need us most. Horizon, proud to be New Jersey.